The soft hum of Seattle's evening traffic filtered through the open window of my downtown apartment as I sat at my desk, staring at the blinking cursor on my laptop screen. It was April 8, 2025, and the city outside buzzed with its usual restless energy ferries cutting through Elliott Bay, the distant glow of the Space Needle piercing the twilight. Inside, though, my world was still, suspended in a quiet I'd come to cherish over the past year. I was drafting an email to my team at Cascade Innovations, the tech firm I'd helped resurrect from the ashes of my ex-husband's betrayal, when my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Heard you're doing well." "He's not. Thought you should know." I froze, my fingers hovering over the keyboard. The message was unsigned, but I didn't need a name. I knew that tone, that brevity. It was Claire, his Claire, the woman who'd shared a bed with my husband, Nathan, in a luxury cabin on the shores of Lake Quinault a year ago, while I'd watched through hidden cameras, my heart splintering with every frame. I hadn't heard from her since she'd vanished from Seattle after that weekend, leaving Nathan to face the wreckage alone. Why now? What did she want? I set the phone down, my pulse quickening. A year ago, that text would have sent me spiraling, anger, hurt, the raw ache of betrayal clawing at me. But now? Now it was just a ripple on the surface of a life I'd rebuilt with deliberate, unrelenting precision. I leaned back in my chair, letting my gaze drift to the framed photo on my desk. Me standing on the deck of a sailboat last summer, wind in my newly cropped hair, a faint smile on my lips. That woman didn't flinch at ghosts from the past. She faced them. Still, curiosity gnawed at me. I typed a reply. "Thanks for the update. Why tell me?" No response came. I blocked the number, a reflex honed from months of guarding my peace, and turned back to my laptop. But the interruption had stirred something, a memory of that weekend, the one that had unraveled everything. I closed my eyes and it all came rushing back, vivid as the day it happened. It started with a lie, as these things often do. Nathan had texted me on the morning of our 10th anniversary, October 12, 2024, claiming he was stuck in Portland for a critical pitch to investors. "These guys could make or break Cascade," he'd written, his words dripping with the earnestness I'd once found so endearing. "I'll be back tomorrow, babe. Promise I'll make it up to you. Love you." I'd believed Heimer wanted Tobe, 'cause that's what you do after a decade of marriage. You trust. You forgive the late nights, the missed dinners, the growing distance, because you've built a life together, brick by brick, and you can't imagine it crumbling. But I wasn't the same woman who'd said, "I do," under a canopy of roses at Volunteer Park 10 years earlier. That version of me, Lydia Harper, psychology grad student turned supportive wife, had been soft, trusting, pliable. This version, the one staring at her husband's text while arranging flowers for a dinner he wouldn't attend, was sharper, more attuned to the cracks beneath the surface. I'd felt them for months. The way Nathan's goodbye kisses had turned perfunctory, the new password on his phone, the faint scent of lavender perfume on his collar that didn't match mine. Small things easily dismissed until they weren't. That morning, as I trimmed the stems of dahlias I'd bought from Pike Place Market, I decided to check his story. Not out of paranoia, but instinct, a quiet, insistent voice I'd ignored too long. I logged into our shared car tracking app, a safety feature we'd set up years ago when Cascade was just a startup in our cramped Capitol Hill apartment. His sleek Audi wasn't in Portland. It was parked at a gas station off Highway 101, halfway to Lake Quinault, a remote, idyllic spot he'd once promised to take me for a romantic getaway. A promise he'd never kept. My stomach twisted. I called his phone, keeping my tone light. "Hey, how's the pitch going?" "Brutal," he sighed, the background noise suspiciously quiet for a bustling city meeting. "These investors are relentless. Might have to stay overnight. Don't wait up, okay?" "Okay," I said, my voice steady despite the lie I could taste in his words. "Good luck, honey." I hung up and stared at the tracking dot on my screen, now moving west toward the lake. That's when I knew. It wasn't suspicion, Anna Marie, it was certainty. And with it came a clarity I hadn't felt in years. I wasn't going to sit at home, wilting like those flowers, while Nathan rewrote our anniversary with someone else. I was going to see it for myself. I didn't act rashly. That's not who I am or who I'd become. I'm a planner, a strategist, traits honed from years of helping Nathan build Cascade from a dorm room dream into a multi-million-dollar tech firm. So I called Sasha Monroe, a private investigator I'd met through a colleague at the community counseling center where I worked part-time. Sasha was sharp, discreet, and unflappable, exactly what I needed. Caught my husband cheating a few years back, she told me over coffee once, her tone matter of fact. Most people don't see what's right in front of them until it's too late. If you've got a hunch, trust it. I trusted it now. I met Sasha that afternoon at a diner near the waterfront, the kind of place where no one from Nathan's polished tech circle would spot us. Over greasy fries and black coffee, I laid out everything. The text, the tracker, the months of subtle shifts I'd cataloged in a mental ledger, late nights at the office, a new assistant named Claire Bennett who joined Cascade 6 months ago, the way Nathan's eyes lingered on her at last year's holiday party. Lake Quinault's a 4-hour drive, Sasha said, scribbling notes in a worn leather journal. If he's there now, we can catch him tonight. You sure you want to do this? I need to know, I said, my voice firm. Not just suspect. No. She studied me for a moment, then nodded. All right. I'll need access to his schedule, car details, anything you've got on this Claire. We'll set up surveillance cameras, audio, the works. If he's there with her, we'll document it. But Lydia, if we do this, there's no one seeing it. You ready for that? I thought of the wedding photo on our mantle, Nathan's arm around me, his smile promising forever. Then I thought of the Audi creeping toward a cabin that wasn't ours. Yes, I said. I'm ready. By late afternoon, Sasha and I were on the road, her black SUV cutting through the drizzle-soaked highways toward Lake Quinault. She'd brought an arsenal of equipment, tiny cameras, microphones, a drone for exterior shots tucked into a duffel bag in the backseat. Her assistant, a wiry guy named Tomas, followed in a nondescript sedan, ready to park down the road and monitor the feeds remotely. I'd packed light. A change of clothes, my laptop, and a folder of financial documents I'd started compiling weeks ago when I'd noticed odd charges on our joint credit card dinners for 2 hotel stays Nathan claimed were for clients. The cabin was exactly as I'd imagined from the listing I'd found buried in Nathan's browser history. A cedar-clad retreat with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the lake, a stone fireplace, a wraparound deck. Rustic luxury, the kind of place you'd take someone special. Not your wife, apparently. Sasha parked a quarter-mile away, and we approached on foot, the damp forest floor muffling our steps. Nathan's car wasn't there yet. His GPS showed him 30 minutes out, but the property manager had already left the key under the mat, per the instructions I'd overheard him confirm in a hushed call from our garden 2 days earlier. Perfect timing, Sasha muttered, unlocking the door. Let's get set up. We moved quickly. I placed a camera in the bedroom, hiding it in a decorative lamp beside the king-sized bed with its crisp white linens. Sasha rigged one in the living room, nestled in a bookshelf, and another in the kitchen, tucked inside a vase of dried flowers. Tomas set up exterior cams and a drone to capture their arrival. Every angle was covered, every whisper would be caught. My hands didn't shake as I adjusted the lenses, not from nerves, but from a strange, cold focus I hadn't known I possessed. You don't have to be here when they show, Sasha said, her voice softening as we finished. We can watch from the car, or I can send you the footage later. This part, it's brutal. I need to see his face, I replied, meeting her gaze. When he walks in with her. When he realizes what he's done to us. I need that. She didn't argue. Instead, she handed me an earpiece. Stay in the guest cottage then. It's close enough to hear everything, far enough to stay hidden. I'll be with Tomas in the sedan. Call if you need us. I nodded, retreating to the small cottage 100 yards away, its windows dark and unassuming. Inside, I set up Sasha's laptop, the feeds flickering to life one by one. The cabin glowed on the screen, empty, pristine, waiting. My phone buzzed. Another text from Nathan. Portland's a grind. Heading to dinner with the team now. Love you. I screenshotted it, timestamped at 5:47 p.m., and added it to my growing file of lies. They're 10 minutes out, Sasha's voice crackled through the earpiece. Black Audi just turned onto the access road. I sat back, my breath shallow, watching the exterior feed. At 6:02 p.m., headlights pierced the dusk, and Nathan's car rolled into view. He stepped out first, his tailored suit impeccable, the silver watch I'd given him for our 5th anniversary glinting on his wrist. He circled to the passenger side, opening the door with a flourish. Claire emerged, her blonde hair catching the porch light. A red dress hugging her frame, the same dress I'd seen her wear at the holiday party, when Nathan had introduced her as the best assistant I've ever had. They laughed, her hand in his, as he grabbed 2 bags from the trunk. His familiar leather weekender and a sleek Louis Vuitton I didn't recognize. The interior cameras activated as they stepped inside. Living room. Nathan pulling Claire close, kissing her with a hunger I hadn't felt from him in years. Kitchen. Claire unpacking a bottle of Veuve Clicquot, giggling as he popped the cork. Bedroom. Nathan whispering something that made her laugh, his hands sliding under her dress. I watched it all, my knuckles white on the edge of the table but my eyes dry. This wasn't about tears anymore. It was about evidence. Audio's live, Sasha confirmed. You getting this? Yes, I said, my voice steady. Keep recording. Nathan's voice filled the cottage through the laptop speakers. Told her I was stuck in Portland all weekend. She's probably setting the table for one right now, thinking I'm some hero closing a deal. You're awful, Claire teased, her tone playful, not accusing. Awfully good at this, you mean? He shot back, and my stomach lurched as he handed her a small velvet box. She opened it, gasping at a sapphire necklace, extravagant, personal, the kind of gift he'd stopped giving me years ago. Everything we need? Sasha asked after an hour of footage. Almost, I said, standing. I want more. About the company. What do you mean? He's been secretive at Cascade lately, closed-door meetings, late-night calls. I think this isn't just an affair. I think he's planning something bigger. Sasha hesitated. If you're right, confronting him might spook him into covering his tracks. We could wait, gather more. No, I cut in. I'm done waiting. I'm going in now. I walked the path to the cabin, the night air cool against my skin, my steps deliberate. Inside, Nathan and Claire were on the couch, wine glasses in hand, the sapphire necklace gleaming at her throat. I didn't knock, I used the spare key from the guest cottage and stepped inside, the door clicking shut behind me. Nathan's head snapped up, his face draining of color. Lydia? What the hell? Claire scrambled to her feet, clutching her glass like a shield. Two didn't. Save it, I said, my voice cutting through the silence like a blade. I've seen everything. Portland, huh? Investors? Nice story, Nathan. The cameras caught a different one. His eyes darted around the room, searching for the devices he wouldn't find. Cameras? You've been spying on me. Documenting, I corrected, stepping closer. 6 months of lies. Texts, receipts, this little getaway funded by Cascade's accounts. Oh, and that necklace? I'm guessing it's not from your personal savings. He stood, his jaw tight, trying to regain control. You're insane. This is an invasion of privacy. Privacy. I laughed, sharp and cold. You lost that when you started screwing your assistant on our anniversary. What I want to know is the rest. What's the plan, Nathan? Selling Cascade out? Moving money? I've seen the transfers, $50,000 last month alone. Where's it going? Claire's eyes widened, flicking to Nathan. What's she talking about? Shut up, Claire, he snapped, then turned to me, his voice low, menacing. You don't know what you're messing with, Lydia. Walk away now, and maybe I won't drag you through the mud in court. Try me, I said, holding his gaze. I've got everything on record. The affair, the funds, your little chats with Ethan Pierce from Horizon Ventures. What's the deal, Nathan? Selling client data? Cashing out and running? His silence was answer enough. Claire backed away, her face pale. Nathan, you said this was just. I said shut up, he roared, then lunged toward me, his hand raised. I didn't flinch. Sasha's voice was already in my earpiece, calm and firm. Anniversary. Seconds later, the cabin door burst open, and Tomas stormed in, Sasha right behind him, her phone to her ear calling the local sheriff. Nathan froze, his arm dropping. You set me up. No, I said, stepping back as Tomas restrained him. You did. The sheriff arrived within 20 minutes, lights flashing against the lake's glassy surface. Nathan was cuffed, ranting about entrapment, while Claire sobbed in the corner, her necklace dangling like a noose. Sasha handed over the footage, hours of video, audio, Financial records show the deputies, who took statements and hauled Nathan to the station for questioning. I didn't stay to watch. I drove back to Seattle that night, Sasha's SUV trailing me, the weight of what I'd done settling in. By Monday, the fallout was seismic. I met with Rachel Kim, a divorce attorney whose reputation for dismantling deceitful spouses was legendary in Seattle. She reviewed the evidence: Sasha's recordings, my screenshots, bank statements showing Nathan's siphoning of Cascade funds, and whistled low. "This isn't just infidelity, Lydia. It's fraud. Corporate espionage, maybe. You've got him dead to rights." "What about the prenup?" I asked, my voice steady despite the exhaustion creeping in. "There's an infidelity clause, half the company if he cheats." With this, Rachel tapped the folder. "You'll get more than half. Washington's a community property state, and he's been using marital assets to fund this mess. We'll bury him." That afternoon, I walked into Cascade's boardroom, unannounced, Rachel at my side. The board 5 executives who trusted Nathan implicitly stared as I laid out the truth. His affair, the misappropriated funds, the secret meetings with Ethan Pierce, a competitor who'd been circling Cascade for months. The room erupted: shock, anger, disbelief, but the evidence silenced their doubts. By the end of the meeting, Nathan was suspended, his office locked, his accounts frozen. Ethan, caught off guard when I named him, slunk out, muttering about misunderstandings. Nathan fought back, of course. He hired a flashy lawyer, spun tales of a vengeful wife to the press, tried to paint me as the villain. But the evidence was ironclad. The divorce took 3 months. Judge Elena Torres awarded me 60% of Cascade's shares, citing Nathan's financial misconduct, plus full legal fees. Cascade itself survived, thriving under new leadership I helped install, eventually merging with Zenith Tech in a deal that tripled its value. Claire disappeared after that night, resurfacing briefly with her text a year later. Nathan, stripped of his wealth and reputation, took a mid-tier job in Denver, a shadow of the man he'd been. I didn't care. I'd moved on to apartment, new role as Cascade's chief integrity officer, new relationships built on trust, not illusion. That night, after Claire's message, I stepped onto my balcony, wine in hand, the city sprawling before me. A year ago, I'd been a woman scorned, filming her husband's betrayal in a darkened cabin. Now I was Lydia Harper, rebuilt, unbowed, free. The past was a lesson, not a chain. And as the lights of Seattle flickered against the night, I raised my glass to the future mine to shape, one fearless step at a time.
If you were the one in this story, how would you react? Would you stand up and fight back, or accept the unreasonable pressure and control from the HOA? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video with more people. Your small action gives us the motivation to keep bringing you more intense and engaging stories. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.